All right, what's up, guys? Hola, bienvenidos. Welcome and welcome back to the channel. We've had a ton of rain, and I always say that. I think I was telling the guys that, or like the nights that it's been unusually dry, right? If we have a dry winter that goes into January, February, I get a little concerned that we're due for it. And sure enough, it all came yesterday, just nonstop pouring. Today it's a little bit better, but I was just running errands, doing little things here and there, and happened to get a call for some AC units. So we have a building that is supposedly 90 degrees, both units not working. So luckily I am decked out in rain gear today. If you guys go check out reliablehvacr.net, this is essentially a rain jacket. Got the hoodie on. There's a bomber jacket on there that I've been using that's really nice. These are all like thin jackets. And then of course I have the hoodies, all that. So go check that out if you guys can. And luckily I was prepared. I got my rain pants, raincoat on, and we're gonna go look at it. I coincidentally, yesterday, I have 3 meters on this van too. And they all decided to die at the same time. Because usually I'll just grab another one and swap it out, but forgot to buy batteries last night, so I had to make the detour because I don't want to get stuck here and it be like an electrical issue that I can't check. So got batteries. We got 2 RTUs, 90 degrees in the building. A little weird, but we'll see what it is. All right, so I forgot to bring my mic. We have this unit. It's a nice, not a big fan of it, but it's a nice little Dakin unit. So I hear the blower. I don't hear the compressor. From another call, experience-wise, I'm gonna remove this panel right here and investigate the compressor compartment, make sure nothing broke, and we'll get that open. Alright, I just wanted to come in here and make sure that none of these pressure control wires snapped. I've had those happen on these Dakin units, so they all seem to be in good condition. It's not a low pressure that's cutting it out. Before I gauge up, because I have seen these leak, we will double check that we have power everywhere. Alright, so all these screws suck on the Daikins. Somebody said it in my chat. That's the only bad thing with them. Alright, let's see the control panel. Alright. I hear some things going on. Alright. I can already see that there's burnt wires here too. So that has to be loose connections. We have everything we need there. It's gonna be a pain in the ass. So 24 volts down here. We have 25. 25. 25. So we have everything there. We're not getting a calling up here. All right, so ruling out low charge. We got 200 PSI on both. Gotta find out what's breaking it. All right, so I forgot these pressure switches, the nice thing is they do have connectors, so I can disconnect everything, rule out a bad pressure switch, and then there's Molex connectors over there. We're gonna have to start tracing it because I turned it off and on just to see if it did anything. It just does not come on. And we have 24 volts from the thermostat. So all I'm gonna do real quick is check each one as far as continuity and then go from there. So that should be working. That should be working. That should be working. And that's working. So I gotta trace it back and see. The other thing is it's gonna go through relays and stuff, and I'm not familiar with Daikin, so we're gonna have to learn as we go. All right, so I've had these delay on brakes act up in the past. I just wanted to go to something simple first before we get into like relays and everything else. So like, I mean, that's a relay too, but this particular one is a delay on brake. So if power goes out, power's turned off, whatever, there's no power, and it tries to come back on, there's a delay so that everything doesn't come on at once. So this side that says 24 volts is the one that has power. So if I check that side, we have 25 volts, and then it's gonna jump it through here to Y1. I think they're both labeled Y1, but it's gonna jump it to Y1. That's going to my my contactor coils, right? So the easiest thing right now, well, I know I have 24 volts here, so I'm gonna jump these two out because I'm pretty sure it's just here to here. I'm not too familiar with them, but we never get continuity here. Like, it never comes back on. So I'm gonna do it safely. We're gonna jump out maybe just one at a time, these two first, and then I'll jump this one out in case these went out. We do have, like I said, loose connections. Probably fried something, we'll see. Here's a mess. We got change outs coming up. I think it's this one, yeah. So I don't have any on me, but we're going to use that one. Temporarily bypass it and see if that's the only issue, then I'll just go get those parts. All right, so power's off. All I'm gonna do is, I can just do it on one of the terminals to be safe. All right. Plug our two wires together like if it was making our contact after delay, and go from there. So right now, all we have to do is wait for, motherfucker. it turned on. I don't know if you can see all the contactors pulled in. No issue there. I might just redo some of the wiring, but this little guy, probably on both, is not working, which is weird. So I'm just gonna replace both. I don't think either one is working for some weird reason. I don't know what makes those give out. I've only had one or two give out that I know of, but the system is running, the system's on. Cooling, like I said, rewire. I'll take note of what these are, go pick them up, and see if I can get that going today. If not, this is our little bypass for now, which is totally fine. All right, guys, so now all my contactors engaged for a 2-stage, and yes, they have it bypassed. I'll see if they want a thermostat, because they tend to be single-stage thermostats, but for now, bypass these delay on brakes. I don't see any other issue. If there was something else with a relay or with a pressure switch, that would not have kicked on the unit. That's just a safety for a delay. That's all it is. I don't even know what the time on this one should be, but obviously even the guy reset it from the breaker, and he was telling me that nothing was coming back on, and you know, it's been like that for a while, so these things just got stuck or something. So I'm gonna go see if Supply House has them, and we'll be back to put those in. Like I said, fix any of the burnt wires. That's just overheating. I might have to replace that last contactor, and we'll go from there. All right, so I got the parts in. I'm gonna finish this AC. We're gonna go ahead and replace both. I felt like neither one was coming on. These are like the replacements, and these are the ones that I'm more familiar with on the walk-in boxes, you know, coolers and freezers is where I've seen these. I didn't know that they had them in AC units, honestly. So that's the replacement there, the ICM. You have an adjustable knob, so you can go from 3 minutes to 10 minutes. These are delay on brakes. So these are, you know, if the power goes out, something causes it to turn off, it satisfies anything, there's always going to be a delay before it can come back on. So like I said, the old one didn't want to bring the unit back on. You're basically cutting out the Y1 and 2 on this one. Is a 2-stage. It's jumped out. That's the way it is. I'm gonna leave it like that, and then yeah, we're just gonna get these in there, pop them in, and replace a contactor, because from what I remember, one of them was discolored and the wires were getting hot, burning up, and looks like I got a fellow, maybe an AC tech on the other side of the roof. There's another ladder propped up. We'll see if I run into anybody up there, but pretty simple swap out. Man, I took too long to start recording, so essentially I just wanted to double check my work, right? So right now it's satisfied, but I'll just double checking, right? Because we have 24 volts here. I wanted to double check on the schematic. I always double check, triple check. This is our delay relay right here. So, I mean, your blue, yeah, they're both blue that feed it on R2, and then your output, obviously Y1, it goes to the contactor coil, CC1, CC2. And then the other input here is from the actual pressure switches, these PS pressure switches. So obviously you get 24 volts up to the R1, which is the side that we bypassed. We hooked it directly up to, or both connections on Y1, just double checking my work, because we never get a closed loop on this thing. So I came here right now and I never got, this other side is where it would have had 24 volts if this thing was working properly, and it just never did on either one. So let's put in the new one, leave it, like I said, it has a dial, leave it at 3 minutes. I don't really want it too long. And then this one, they have it this way now. So I just have to keep that in mind, that we're flipping it this way. Our transformer 24 volts is this side now, Our blue R1 is going to be on the bottom here, and then our load to the compressor coil, I mean it's all marked, will be on this side now. So it's just flipped over. In case you're wondering, my battery died. I forgot to charge it the other day, but I did have to put them upside down. So basically wired the same way. If you look at it that way, just everything is going to be upside down. I didn't have enough slack, and I don't want to mess with the wiring, so and I did wire them backwards. That's why I was tracing them, because the compressor coil is the one that goes to your contactors, and then this side is your 24 volts. The other side that says transformer, and it says 24 volts. They write out everything for you. So if anything, when you flip the breaker back on and you just want to make sure, as long as this is calling you, to make sure you got 24 volts to your Y1 and Y2, just check which side has 24 volts. That'll be your live side. And if you had it backwards, then you can fix that. But this should be, once we turn the unit back on, it should stall out for 3 minutes and then turn back on. In the meantime, we are going to replace these two, I think, right here. These are the ones that are the like, this one's really bad. We're going to cut it back. Contacts are discolored. I can imagine the inside of those, and this one's starting to in the middle. So we're going to check all that. This unit just runs a lot. So I'm going to check the wiring, check the amperage and everything like that, and just get those changed out. It could have also just been a loose connection, a bad connection, but this is all the wiring from factory. So I think it's just from running so much, because this one is their kitchen AC, so it's running like non-stop. They got a big oven in the middle that gives off a lot of heat. All right, so a lot of this is color coded, obviously, so I'm going to take a picture with my phone of each one so that I know that it's going to be black, red, yellow on top, and so on and so forth. As far as like the wiring down here, in case they're similar colors or anything like that, like these two are pretty close, the red and the orange, especially on this one. You can just go ahead and mark like 1, right? And then I don't know how far back I'm going to cut them, but 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. That way you know it's 1, 2, 3. That's helpful if it's the same color, like I said, or if the colors are super close to each other. I should be able to distinguish, but just in case. And then, like I said, we're going to cut back the wire. All the wiring up here looks fine. It's just here on the line side. All right, so in case you're wondering on these, like if you, if you don't have connectors, you can either cut them back, strip it, use the bare strands. Some people like to cut the fork completely off and you just have this metal part, which is fine too. If you need to get into tight spots, I've always told my guys to cut one fork, and that way if you need to get it in there a little deeper, you still have a flat connection there as your connector. So like I said, some people cut the whole fork off, some people cut the wire back bare. It's totally up to you. I've always been one to try and have the right connectors, or try to put on a new connector, but sometimes you just don't have it and you got to get into tight spots. So if you're just curious about that, especially like on defrost timers, that's what I do that a lot for, because those terminals are so close together, and sometimes you can't get forks in there when you're going from like a 8145, the mechanical timers, to like a Grassland electronic, or the board type of timers. So I need to cut these back and do a rinse and repeat on this side, and then we can start the unit up real quick, because they're probably waiting for their cooling. It's like 90 degrees out now. All right, so I took off the cover of the others just to do an inspection, and sure enough, those look at least decent, right? There's going to be a little bit of pitting. I can't really show you on camera, but for the most part, they're still pretty clean. So I'm going to show you what those look like. Those are our main ones, main contactors. This should be for the blower motor, and then these are the compressor ones. That's why those gave out pretty quick. Like I said, those are on constantly, coming on and off. So make sure you don't have any loose connections, and if you do cut those connectors like I showed you, make sure they're in there good contacts. All these other wires are not loose. Give them the old tug test, and then we can turn this back on. All right, just had to clean up a little bit. Relays are in. We're at 3 minutes on both. I will keep time on that. Hopefully this orientation doesn't mess with them, but I didn't want to extend the wire or anything like that. It's already a tight fit. Hopefully that doesn't mess with the timer, but we'll time them, make sure everything comes on the way it's supposed to. Contactors look good, so let it rip. All right guys, so sure enough, it's wired fine. Like I said, I left it on the minimum. It already turned on after a couple minutes. All contactors came on. We got our new ones. Hopefully we don't have any overheating issues there. I'm just going to do a quick amp draw on these, and then we'll be done. Just go by your compressor specs. I don't have to go too much into that, but yeah, sure enough, they both came on. They are separated here by the contactors, right? One goes to one, the other one goes to the other relay here. And before, I don't know, nothing came on. If you guys know more than I do, I don't get too technical as to why they give out. I've had them give out on walk-in boxes before, and that was kind of I've seen this before, right? So I've never seen it on an AC unit, but knowing that I've had to replace them before, and then knowing how they work, I went to this. You got to trace your wires and go from the start. Like, you got 24 volts, follow it all the way through and see where you're losing it. Everything's just switches, basically. Safeties and switches. Those are the on and off. That's all it is. There's a delay. There's something pressure related, temperature related that'll open or close these switches. You got to figure out, what's breaking that power, that line that you're losing, as to why your contactors aren't coming in. Pretty simple, but everything's working now, and we can get out of here. All right, guys. So I hope that was helpful in some sort of way. If anything, I think I mentioned this in the video, if you're going to take anything away, just slow down, trace your wires. Everything in that equipment, besides the compressor, the fan motors, and the coils, everything else in between, on the metering device, everything else in between is a switch, basically. It's triggered by temperature, pressure, or time. So in this instance, it was a time relay. So we had a time delay on break, to where that's just a That one's just a safety. If it's short cycling, running a lot on and off, that's just a safety for that. So that's what we're dealing with. There's also a delay on make, which is more for, from what I understand, power outages and issues with voltage and stuff like that, to where if a unit gets power, you want to make sure that that voltage is constant and good and you know, steady, and then it'll wait a bit and then turn back on. So, or just turn on in general every time. There's going to be delay every time. The delay on brake is just whenever it turns off, you don't want it to come on right away. So both similar. I used to get confused with stuff like that too. Just like I said, everything's a switch on and off. It's either a pressure switch, thermostat, a temp control, a delay, relay, you know, stuff like that. We have a bunch of relays in the systems too. So just remember, when I figured that out, everything made so much sense, right? Every time I look at a schematic or this and that, and you see the little symbols for the switches, and it'll show you if it's on a pressure rise or a temperature drop or whatever it is. Like those are easy. It just takes a while if you're new to kind of grasp that, and everything else just falls into place. Electrical troubleshooting is not that bad. That's the worst. It's my weakest point, the electrical side of it. But like, if I just calm down and, you know, slow down, I'll figure it out. So just, I hope that helped in any way, you know. And units running fine. They were happy that the AC, that I bypassed it in the meantime till I went out and got it. Now, as far as like, I'm not super technical. I just know what works, what doesn't work, and what to check for. Compressors were fine. All the you know, they were amping okay. Nothing was sticking out to me. We do get maintenance on those every 6 months, so they shouldn't be too bad. You know, stuff like that. If you guys, and I've learned from the comments a lot, so if you guys, and I've asked this on the last few videos, and I've learned a few things. So if you guys have any theories or why those gave out, I do not understand. I ran it a few times and never turned on, and we put in the new ones, and then right away after the 3 minutes, they both kicked on simultaneously. So, you know, it worked. I don't know why they gave out. The unit's less than 5 years old, I believe. So who knows? I've only seen those on walk-in boxes. I have changed them out and just tracing my wires, because I got, even me opening that right now, I was like, oh shit, there's a lot of wires. I got to start tracing. But it was simple, you know, just figure out where the wires go and you're good. So like I said, hope you guys enjoyed. Sliced my finger on a change out, which I gotta start cleaning up my van. It's Friday, it's after work, so I'll clean that right now. But like I said, hope you guys enjoyed. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I'll see you guys. So as promised, here are the contactors that we took out. You can see they are discolored, pitted, and burnt all to hell. If you guys can take out the old parts and then rip them apart and see maybe why they failed or what they look like when they're bad, and then maybe compare them to a new part, you know, whether that's checking resistance, ohms, even continuity, you can find out a lot, and you can kind of see these things and know why something gave out or what it looks like when it goes bad. You'll learn a lot.